I strongly oppose CRT. I oppose critical theory and woke ideology in any form. Let's be clear. Woke ideology has captured our institutions of higher education for decades now, and when they are the sole source provider of educators, it is no wonder that there is indoctrination and woke ideology seeping into South Carolina classrooms. It doesn't have to have the acronym CRT in order for it to be related to CRT or critical theory. I will stand strong against that hopeless worldview that pits students against each other and that simply talks about the oppressed versus the oppressor, instead of what unifies us and the hope that we have as Americans that we can come together, like Dr. Martin Luther King said in the civil rights movement of the 1960s, to be judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin. And so I will stand strongly for curriculum that celebrates the American founding, that celebrates Western civilization and the classics that we know have made America great. In terms of how teachers should stick with this plan and not inject their personal positions, and how we should deal with teachers who might violate this curriculum policy, I think the most important thing is fairness. We have to be fundamentally fair. We have to be clear with teachers what is in bounds and what is out of bounds, and then we have to have policies in districts that are enforced that that allow our students to know, or our teachers to know, that we are serious about it. I believe that these violations should be dealt with like any other infraction of contracts or district policy, including and up to firing if necessary.
As far as history, I am for the 1776 curriculum. It can be found in Woodson or Hillsdale, and it teaches factual history. As far as CRT, everybody asks, because I'm currently in the classroom, Dr. Gibson, do you see CRT in the classroom? And I will say no one's reading a book to children called CRT. However, they are framing the content that they're teaching through the lens of CRT. Is my time up? No. Oh, that was a yellow? Okay. So I definitely, I'm in favor of the classical education. If you're not familiar with that, please take a look at it. It is very well founded, and I would love to see that implemented in South Carolina along with the 1776 curriculum for history.
We must get back to teaching our children how to think and not what to think. Critical thinking skills, not critical race theory. And that is so important, that our children are not being taught critical race theory. They're not part of our standards right now. They will not be part of the standards when I'm your next state superintendent of education, and we cannot allow our teachers to be teaching that in the school. If they are, then we need to take a look at what we need to do to make sure that, that they realize what they're doing and that they are talked to, and if they have to lose their job over this, then we just need to look at that, but we need to make sure, as Ellen said, that it's fair. But we should have no critical race theory in our schools.
CRT, not allowed in our schools. Our legislatures need to put into law that consequences if this is done. Teachers need to be put on probation, and then a fine, and then they need to be suspended. Just as students are held accountable, we need to hold teachers accountable. When it comes to SEL, 8 years ago when we did our strategic plan, SEL, social emotional learning, we used that for students that were having learning disabilities, emotional issues, anxiety, etc. Well, now CRT has a strand. They have lots of strands, and SEL has a different meaning. And I didn't know this until we had parents that came to our board meetings and they were talking about CRT, SEL, etc. We've got to get a handle on it, we've got to know, and we've got to open our eyes. But we don't know everything that's going on in that classroom, but you know who does? Parents. And parents are the ones that will be accountable and coming to board. You've got somebody running for school board. I'm on school board. I encourage people to come to our school board meetings and tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong so we can fix it. Thank you.